All right, so I've told you they're hiding advanced physics that could save the world. But what if they're hiding something even bigger? If you've been following along with my videos, then you know that Einstein said in 1920, space without ether is unthinkable. And then by the 1940s, he and every other scientist had to kind of hide the ether because they wanted to make sure that the Nazis didn't get the bomb. And so these were basically nuclear secrets. And so that's why today we don't actually ever hear that there is an interpretation of relativity that is ether based. You should already know I have this attitude that's, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They had a good reason for it at the time. But now they're hiding something that could literally save mankind from climate change and all of those issues. So if you're like me, that might kind of make you a little bit angry. But here's the thing, they're hiding something even more powerful that might upset some of you even more. Oh, back in 2015, I published a paper on the neoclassical interpretation of modern physics that basically shows how information theory can reveal a scientific basis for and evidence for a spiritual world existing. Now, said another way, I'm saying that I showed how hiding the ether is hiding evidence for a spiritual world. Now, bear with me for a second. Let me explain. Say you're an atheist and you're not really interested in any of that spiritual stuff. That's actually my point here, is that my paper is based upon starting from an entirely atheistic viewpoint and only describing the idea of a soul from the perspective of modern science and modern science terms. For instance, when I say that Twitter bans someone, that can have a big effect on their life. When I say Facebook tracks your every move and manipulates you, and you have no problem understanding what I mean, you don't consider for a moment that those things don't physically exist, because they don't physically exist, right? And it doesn't bother you that they only can really exist spread out across multiple machines and other physical things. It's part of our normal experience of life. So you already intuitively comprehend that an entity made of purely data can impact and alter your life. Your thoughts cause your arm to move. Mine's making mine move a lot. And you alter physical reality through thought in that way. In other words, there is an impact upon at least your physical body through the information that is in your brain. So when I ask you to think of information systems as the new words for the ancient concept of spirit, it shouldn't be that much of a stretch for you. For any of you, whether you be spiritual or whether you be on the atheistic side of things. What I'm talking about is the way information impacts reality, and there are thermodynamic considerations for this specifically. The only question might be then, well, doesn't Facebook only exist as the physical servers, phones, and wires that make it go? That's a good question. So let me ask you, if giving you every part to a car is giving you a car, would you buy a Ford F-150 from me if I kept weirdly saying, yes, I will give you every part and all the parts to a Ford F-150, and each individual part is brand new and functioning? Would you still buy it from me? The issue is, even if I've given you every part to a car, every part is brand new, every part is functional, if it's not assembled in just the right way, it's not a car. The point you should be catching here is that there is something beyond a collection of physical parts that allows it to do and be something more. There is a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. A pile of every part to a car is not a car. So what is the difference? The difference is information. So I'd like all of you to consider the idea of a spirit being something that exists greater than physical existence, and that we use terms about information and data to describe it. This is what's necessary to get down to a way in which science and spirituality can link directly together without any needless argument between them. It turns out that in the study of information, there is a crossover with thermodynamics. So information is energetic in nature. Here at this point, with information theory, we can allow atheists and spiritual people to meet together and be able to stop arguing and look at things from a scientific basis. Well, it turns out that the only version of Aether that will actually work at all is it has to work with general relativity, has to work with quantum physics. There's only one version of Aether that will actually work. And it is a model that is, well, super solid, super fluid in nature. But it turns out that the structure of the Aether itself can be storing and computing information. And there are all these fibrous filaments that are a lot like neurons. So it's almost as if we're embedded or projected into this giant brain, and that matter itself is a consequence of the thoughts occurring in this giant computational system or mind. In other words, the way a spiritual person would put it is we're thoughts in the mind of God. So maybe you've seen those maps of dark matter and things like that that look like neurons, and that's at a huge scale. But I'm telling you that there are very neuron-like things happening at the quantum scale as well. So here we have a rational, deterministic, and mathematically equivalent system to modern physics that can use all of the modern technical jargon, terminology, etc., to describe a spiritual world through the concept of Aether. And this is being hidden from us because of nuclear secrets, supposedly, from like over, what, 80 years ago? I don't know. It's strange that it's being hidden. So again, I'm saying that the Aether is this system that can act as a computational substrate that stores and computes data. And so therefore, just like a server running, World of Warcraft or something like that, you could actually have something going on inside this data system that's enormous. That's, everything is basically, when you look out there, it's mostly space, and matter is just this tiny little nothing kind of at the edge of space. And then what I'm explaining is that the Aether is the thing. And so it's this computational system that is producing physical existence at its kind of edges. And so therefore it's going through us, we're part of it, it's part of us, and it's almost certainly recording everything that we're doing because it is part of everything that we're doing. You can't separate the Aether from matter. It's all just part of one system. It's just like you can't separate a whirlpool from the ocean. It's what the ocean is doing. And so it's like that. And so this is all going to be explained in greater detail in another video that I'm working on. But it's going to be in layman's terms because I usually do videos that have, I used to do videos that were very complex, got into a lot of the individuals and the historical events and more specifics of the physics. So if you're interested in how this would work and you're somewhat familiar with the way that the commonplace storyline of how physics works, then you'll be interested in this video, and I hope you'll enjoy a more detailed look, but still within layman's terms and still staying within explanations that kind of make sense intuitively. Thanks a lot.